have Dr. Michelle Jorgensen on our live, and we're so glad that she is part of this conference. One of the reasons when we started on our health journey, we didn't realize the importance that our mouths have in our
biological dentistry in general,
and having it on our health journey. And Dr. Michelle, I will tell you that when I was younger, I was actually a dental assistant, and I used to mix
that
amalgam.
mercury up by hand, smelling all those fumes, and no one even thought twice about it, which is insane.
I don't think I ever really wore a mask.
Yeah, you didn't. We didn't wear gloves or masks.
No, so this was in the Bay Area in the middle of the AIDS epidemic, and her doctor would not wear gloves unless he knew a patient had AIDS. He was like 70 years old. He was old school. He's like, no, I'm not going to do it. I don't like them.
Wow.
So I am so glad that you're part of the conference because you are bringing so much awareness. I don't think a lot of people realize the importance of how our mouths affect the rest of our health. We usually just think it's just within our mouths, but it affects the rest of our health. And I think that is where a lot of my problems stemmed from, was being in the dental office then.
Interesting.
So tell us a little about yourself, kind of what you're going to be talking about at the conference. You are one of our speakers, and a little bit about what you'll be sharing.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I do a lot of speaking, a lot of podcasting, and every single time I do it, I think, my story's so old and everybody's heard all of these things. And every single time everybody's just blown away. They're like, what? I didn't know any of this stuff. This is all brand new. So I'm excited to share because I think it is information everyone needs to know. And really what I do is I talk about my story, how I even ended up here in the first place. And it wasn't intentionally. I was a general dentist doing all the things that a general dentist does and got sick from it. So I'll talk about that, about really my journey and the genesis of where I'm at today. And along that pathway, I learned that there were so many things that connect the mouth and the rest of the body. And it makes sense, right? We're connected top to bottom, but for some reason we're told we're not. That the tooth doesn't really mean anything. Not only does a tooth mean a lot, but a tooth can tell us a lot about the rest of the body. A tooth can also lead to a lot of other health issues, like you found out. So we're going to go through what I call the big three, which are mercury or metals in the mouth. That's what made me sick. Infection in the mouth. And a lot of these are hidden infections. You don't know that they're there.
That is the biggest key, because they can sit there dormant for a long time. We think they're dormant, but they're causing major underlying issues that no one even has a clue about. And your regular dentist doesn't even know that.
They have no idea. Yep. Because the diagnostic tools that they're using don't actually show these, but there's no symptoms. And so, we go to a doctor because there's a symptom, right? Something hurts, we go, well, if nothing hurts, how do you know? How do you know what could potentially be going on underneath, that's affecting everything else? And so that's the second one. And the third one is airway, or the way we breathe and the way we sleep. And there's literally an epidemic in our country right now with people not sleeping. And when you don't sleep and when you don't get restorative sleep, you don't heal. So you can do all the other things that people are talking to you about at this conference, from a supplement standpoint and a health needs standpoint and all the changes. But if you're not actually sleeping at night, none of them will really be as effective as they could be, because your body isn't in what I call construction zone. It never gets there. It never gets the chance to recover and recuperate and regenerate. That's when our cells all regenerate. So if you're not doing that, all the rest of it really isn't going to do much for you. So these are really important tenets that I believe everybody should know. And as I'm learning, most people don't. So I'm really excited to be there to be able to share these things. And my whole approach is always simplicity. I like to take it down to very simple concepts, very simple to-do lists, because I want you to know what to do tomorrow, not just feel overwhelmed with all of these problems I might have. I want you to know what to do about it. So that's really what I'm going to be sharing.
Well, and I'm so glad that you're going to be able to bring it back down to the basics, because sometimes people think that it's, I have to change this and this and this and this and this. But if they could just get down to those basics, easy things to implement, how much easier would that be? So,
yeah, it's overwhelming when you're in a health crisis, when you have health issues, or even if you're just wanting to stay healthy, which is pretty much everybody that's going to be showing up at the conference, in all those categories. Sometimes it can be very overwhelming. There's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of things to look at. There's a lot of, potential ways to go. And so I really hope to help direct and say, this is the dental piece of it, and it's a pretty important one. And where does it fit in your journey? You know, when should you be addressing this, and what should you be looking for in a practitioner? What should you be asking for? What are the things that you need to be looking for? All of those kinds of things are questions that we're going to be addressing and touching on, because this is bigger than people realize. It's interesting. I just did a post about root canals and failed root canals and the incidence of it and what that means for the body. There was a research study done a few years ago that showed people who had died of a heart attack, meaning their clot was big enough that it actually had killed them. They biopsied that clot and found that 70% of those were related to the mouth. So 70% of fatal heart attacks came from the mouth. In at least
how would they figure that out? I mean,
so they
I mean, I don't
biopsy the clot.
not disagreeing. I'm just like, how would they figure out that
Yeah.
that's where it kind of came from?
They biopsy the clot to see what pathogens, what bugs are in that clot. And there were mouth-specific, mouth-only pathogens in 70% of those clots.
Well, I know that in what you just said, the word root canal. In a root canal, they are really high infection when people don't even realize it, right?
Yeah.
So it's very rare to have a good root canal that actually does not become a long-lasting problem of infection, and most people have no clue.
Yep, and that's the kind of infection that they're finding in hearts. Are those low-grade chronic infections that don't hurt, you don't know about, so you have no idea that you even need to do something about it to treat it, but it is affecting your body to the point that it's even causing things like fatalities because of this infection spreading from here other places.
Well, I've even seen,
I was just going to say that I bet at your class, though, you're going to be teaching people how, like, what they can do or how they can find out if they
That's
do
what
have
we
these
always focus
underlying.
on. What does this mean for me? If I've had a root canal, what should I do? Well, I tell you exactly what to do. What to do first, the practitioner you should be looking for, all of that kind of information. Because like I said, it doesn't help to get overwhelmed. It just helps to actually have answers.
Yeah. So
you are speaking, and I don't have the schedule
on
in front
Saturday.
of me.
I believe Saturday at 1.
Saturday at 1, okay, at the conference, and you have a booth there, so you'll be there for people to come up and ask questions throughout the whole conference on Friday and Saturday as well. And then you have a discount code. Do we remember what that discount code is?
Yeah, it's Dental 40, isn't
Dental 40. So
Dental
you
40.
can use the Dental 40, and that gives you 40% off the $37 fee to get into the conference, so almost half price off if you use that for the 2-day live event. So we're really grateful for Dr. Jorgensen for all that she does, not in just helping people, because that's what it's all about. And you are like so many other people that will be at the conference. You got into what you're doing because you had your own health issues.
Yeah.
And you had to try to figure them out. And so, you know, we were just on the TV show earlier, and one of the ladies that was there said, you know, I wish this conference would have been around 20 years ago, because then I wouldn't have to have done so much research myself. I would have been able to just learn it from people that had already figured it out, you know. And that's why we do the conferences, so people can get a better understanding. Like this, people might not even realize, hey, there's possibility you need to look at your mouth first to solve a health problem and a crisis.
Yep. Well, thank you so much for providing the opportunity for people to learn.
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you at the conference
This weekend.
Yeah, it's coming.